Well, welcome to another wonderful session titled The Key Innovation Drivers to Deliver Sustainable Business Value. And my name is Linda Ding. I'm Director of Solutions Marketing. Join me today is Dev Gulati, which is the Head of Automation of Columbia Sportswear. I'm so excited to have him here with us. I met Dev about just a couple of months ago at Customer Contact Week, which is the industry-leading conference for customer experience. It's quite a show. And I was so impressed by Dev's innovation and vision in terms of driving that digital experience for their customers, not just external customers, but also internal customers, their employees. So with that, I can't wait for him to share his innovation journey with you all. And I'm going to hand it off to you, Dev. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Linda. Really appreciate. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. I'll just turn around and move the slides a little. About me, my name is Dev Gulati. I head the process automation and the consumer service technologies at Columbia Sportswear. More than 25 years of experience, mainly in business consulting. I've seen quite a few technology platforms. Very excited to be part of this automation journey. And really, I'm solution engineer at heart. So that's what defines me. So trying to find solutions for our business enterprise, that's what is core for us. A little bit about Columbia Sportswear. We do apparel footwear for the outerwear, and essentially what we do is connect active people with their outdoor passions. That's what kind of defines us. So you would have seen Columbia Sportswear. We kind of specialize in apparel footwear for special sports, hunting, fishing. You go on a hiking or a camping, or even a stroll outside in a winter weather. Remember Columbia Sportswear. Gert Boyle, she was a founder, and she said it so well. It's perfect, now make it better. So that's what we strive to do. That's the core theme we have. So if you don't know about Gert Boyle, do check her out. Very inspirational story, I must say. We are based out of Portland, Oregon. That number is slightly incorrect. We are 8,000 employees now across the globe. Our automation journey. We started way back in 2018, 2019, that time frame. I think that kind of shows it well, the crawl, walk, run approach we took. Started small, really focused hard on building our COE. So those were the initial days we had. And then we started picking pace in year 2 to 4, really. And our focus was more on processes, right? You kind of noticed that around that stretch. And now we are really running. So this is essentially where we stand. In year 4 plus, we have more than 100 processes where we have put in automation. A lot of fun stuff happening at what we do. And we have also scaled on technologies. We started with RPA, brought in low-code platforms, business process management, and really focusing hard now on the human-centric automation. You heard a lot about RE. So we have been early adapters on RE, and that is one of the core focus areas for us this year. Let's talk about this session, the key innovation drivers. So what we wanted to also share and what we noticed in the way we have built our automations and our bots is that there are certain central themes. One of them is automation by design, and we'll talk more about that. And then you will notice the word ease around that. So ease is our central theme. It's all about how do you make your applications which are easy to use, easy to develop, and easy to integrate. So we really focus hard on that aspect of that. So I'll talk a little about the ease of automation, or essentially or the automation by design. So what does it mean? When we say automation by design, what does it really mean? The first point kind of clarifies that it's the automation first approach. The way we have kind of changed the way we do automation is that we focus more on not that automation should come as an afterthought. You already have a process, you can try to automate it. But try to build it from the ground zero itself. So I'll give you an example here. So we were trying to revamp our account receivable operations. So we have a lot of big customers like Amazon, Kohl's, and other customers, right? And we were revamping our entire account receivable operations. And we thought that while we are building that entire process, let's bring automation in as part of the design itself, right? Not as that you have already implemented the entire process and then you come and try to automate. That's not the idea. Is that while you are designing the process itself, you bring your automation engineers, your solution architects at that point of time itself, and bring it from the ground zero. What we felt that actually gives you much better traction overall, and really engage early. So during the process discovery itself, your business transformation as they're happening, bring your solution architects, engage early in that design discussions. We feel that gives you a much better adaption and overall ROI for your automation, rather than trying to bring it later in the game, because then you are faced with constraints, right? Other important thing where we feel automation by design actually helps us is that when we design our processes or when we look at automation, even though we start focusing on a given automation requirement, but we think both upstream and downstream at the same time. So that's where we really focus on that, okay, what are our processes? We have started on this part of the journey as far as automation is concerned, but what are the processes where the data is actually coming from? Where the process is really starting. It may be even starting outside your company, it's possible. Or where it is ending. For example, it might be ending in, let's say, your ERP system where it is finally posting, or maybe in data and analytics also. So think across the streams. It kind of helps. You might start with a focused automation, but that kind of helps you to get a complete picture of the process. So that is another key paradigm where it has helped us quite a bit. This one is interesting. Bots can analyze data. So a lot of times you will find that the way bots have been implemented is that you try to automate a given action. But actually, a lot of times a bot can actually come in and help analyze the data at the back end, bring in all those insights, collect all those insights, and present it in a better fashion, or even take an action later on. So a lot of bots we have implemented are in audit spaces, in even looking at design patterns, looking at patterns of data, we have done that. Even forecasting models. So we have a lot of automations we are building around capacity planning. So there our automations really look hard and see that, listen, we will take it through this data model and give that feedback back to business to take a better decision. Power of application. So this is another interesting point. We use the term tango. It takes two to tango. So what does this mean? Why does it take two to tango? It's not only automation, it's also application. So a lot of times what we have seen is that the way we have designed processes, for example, we revamped our entire, the way we do contracts in our system. That needs a foresight to involve SAP application teams. So we don't design only automation using automation anywhere. We bring in the application teams to design the complete solution working along with them. And we have done that quite effectively with a lot of areas. We have implemented a low-code platform with Pega. We brought in automation anywhere along with Pega to give good solutions to our business partners, smart workflows. We did that with Core AI on conversational AI. So that is one of the areas we are focusing, that how you can use conversational AI experience using their natural language understanding, whereas you can still have a lot of actions being done by bots at the back end. So really it takes two to tango, and maybe the dance can even be bigger if you involve more applications. Think scale. So what does it really mean, think scale? We call it the power of one. Start with one customer, one vendor, one region, one process, one language. Don't overthink it. Start small, get your automation in first. And then you start looking, while you're doing that, then you start looking at scale, that how am I going to expand this thing now? So I've defined this process, let's say for North America. Is it scalable in Europe, in Asia, in Asia Pac? Can we do that? Can I extend the same process now in multiple languages? Can I extend, for example, we developed a big automation around traffic routings. So what the bots do for us actually is that they pick up all the data to route all the traffic which is needed for the retailers, right? So we started with only one customer, with one retailer. And now it has expanded. We have more than 10 customers, big customers, where those bots are actually now helping with this traffic routing. So think scale is huge. So these are the kind of principles there that you start thinking automation by design itself. Any questions on this one before I go further?
I do.
Yeah, sure.
So those are great vision. And those are pretty high, tall orders as well. And what we have learned from the past 2 years is that because of the ease of the consumer side of the experiences, a lot of the expectations now are coming towards building enterprise applications. So employees are expecting as easy of an experience, such as how you order a book or anything from Amazon now today. So what are you doing to make the entire experience easy for your team?
Absolutely. I think that kind of extends the thought to our next slides, and we'll talk about the ease, the whole central theme about ease. One thing I'll probably say is that sophistication is not complexity. They're two very different things. A lot of times it gets confused. Sophistication actually is simplicity. How simple you make things, how easy you make things. It's all about those experiences, and we'll touch upon even the integration and development patterns. The more easy you do it, the more faster to market you will be in your delivery of bots. So let's talk about the ease of development first. So a lot of focus we have paid actually on making the development easy. So Automation Anywhere has a bot store. We have our own bot store internally within the company. And what does it mean is that the moment you start thinking about federation or citizen development, you need to provide those modular blocks of code to your citizen developers, right? So it makes it easy. For example, how do you create a bot which accesses SAP, create another bot which actually does a financial posting, create another bot which will go ahead and change a sales order within a system, right? So the more reusable components you make, the easier your development path will be. And why it becomes so important is that the real thing is the faster path to value, the speed to market, right? So you really want to start delivering automations, in an iterative manner, where you get the solution to business quickly, maybe in 1 or 2 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks time, rather than waiting for a longer period. And then you iterate. So more reusability you will have, the better off you'll be. A lot of focus on version management, static code analysis, again, maintainability. But the common theme is make it easy for your development team, especially if you're considering citizen development or federation, it becomes even more important. This one is also interesting. Yes.
Quick question.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
I saw note it says predefined integration patterns. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Absolutely. So that is kind of linked to the next slide. When I come to ease of integration, I'll explain that concept. So what's happening with the predefined integration patterns is that what we have done is we have looked at our ecosystem. And everybody of you will have a different ecosystem, right? In our ecosystem, systems like SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft Azure architecture, they are very important, right? So, and what we have done is we have invested time and energy in building those predefined integrations for these systems. So now when we develop the bot, it's like going to a marketplace and picking up what you need, connecting it together, and you have it done very quickly. In fact, I'll probably go to the point of saying that our overall bot output, the time has reduced by roughly 40 to 50% doing these things. So the more you invest on integration patterns, you will find that it will increase both your speed and scalability. So that is the central theme here, is that we look at our ecosystem, what are the connectors which we can build or acquire? Some of them you can acquire. Good thing we heard today, even with the iPaaS integration, which Automation Anywhere is providing already, like with Boomi or MuleSoft or other players, is that it will even make it more easier in future, right? So the ease of integration is key on that. And then this is my favorite, ease of use. This is where you really develop your experiences for your consumers and for your employees. So one of the key things, we talk about building experiences, and it's all about building those user experiences which can be more flexible. So the world of tomorrow, you will have experiences which can be in a chat, for example. It can be through an IVR, a voice call, which is coming in, right? It can be even a forms. Ari gives us that. It gives us a form-based user experience. So essentially, you can focus on building those user experiences, whereas automation or RPA can work very effectively at the back end, servicing information, providing information, doing actions, right? And another common theme you will see is that everywhere you will not find an enterprise service or an API. It's difficult, right? You cannot have, every process cannot be an API. RPA is a great thing there, which kind of fits that bill, which you can use a combination of your services as well as your RPA to give a great user experiences while you are keeping your user experiences overall as flexible, right? So we have been focusing quite a bit on this piece. You spoke about Ari. So Ari, you have heard quite a bit. So Ari, we have been really enabling and utilizing it, and we find good use of that. Embedded automation. That is another common theme you heard today. We have been early adapters in that. We have started utilizing embedded automations mainly in Salesforce. And believe me, it has been very effective. That is one area we really like the partnership with Automation Anywhere to bring out those solutions for us. This is funny, minions. This is who we are. If you were to ever imagine us as a team, we're a team of minions. We are not big style mega bots. We are not. We are a bunch of microbots. And that's what defines us, is that there can be several actions which can be taken by a given user, and every action can be a microbot. So we are, in fact, building a library of microbots, repeatable bots, which can work together and can give solution to your business stakeholders. So if you ever picture us, think about us as minions. That's another key area, role-based automations. So that is another aspect we are focusing on, is the day of a life from an automation perspective. So when you start building automation, you always keep process in mind, but keep that human in the mind first. Day of life of a planner, a person who is doing demand planning or supply planning or account operations, or a person who is managing the, let's say, forecasting. Keep that person in mind and start thinking about all the processes they do as part of the day of the life. And start thinking about all the microbots you can build to automate their journeys. Does it resonate with you? Yeah, sure.
You talked about before you go down of Ari. Can you give us maybe your favorite example of how Ari interacts with human beings?
Absolutely. Let me show you that in the next slide. It's working so well, right? I exactly knew the questions you're going to ask.
So I want to repeat the question just so our online audiences can hear. The question is about the examples of RE.
So this is how we effectively utilized RE. So I was referring earlier about this traffic routing bots. So earlier we have our routing coordinators who, if they have to route all our shipments, they used to call us in the technology team, in IPA COE. I'd listen, I have these routings, please go ahead and schedule all these routings for us. So what we used to do is control room, normal process, we used to make sure that that schedule is taken care of for each of the retailer. Now bear in mind, all these routings, especially in our industry, in retail and fashion, it's very flexible, very dynamic. It changes so quickly. And the loads change so quickly, especially during the holiday season. So it was getting very difficult for us to manage it. And the routing coordinator, for them, it is all happening in the back end, right? So they were also not very clear about how the process was getting monitored. So one of our first attempts was to get rid of the middle layer completely, bring in RE Web. Give the complete control to the routing coordinators. That's what we did. Now what happened with that is that they schedule their own bots, they review their own bots, they can monitor it, they can stop it, they can start it at will. So that was one example where we have utilized RE. Other examples where we have found use of RE is mainly for, we are thinking more on the Salesforce side of it. We're more of embedded application, but we are kind of using that RE framework to do it. We strongly feel that the future will be where you will have more form-based, more human interactions. Whether it is happening within an application, outside an application, it's perfectly okay. But the user experiences will become most important. And one thing we learned is that it's often repeated also, meet where your customer is. Don't expect them that they will change their behavior and start a new way of inputting data or running they will not. If they are running the process in SAP or Salesforce or on a web form, they will continue doing that. You just need to meet them there. And the tools are there now. That's the beauty about it. We heard from here also in the morning is that it's all about that how do you collaborate and bring that automation to them. Make it easy, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Related to the RE Web. So you talked about the embedded.
Can you hold on? Can you use the mic?
You talked about the embedded integration that you built on RE. So is it like one that's built on Salesforce, or is it the routing one that you're talking about?
We are having multiple use cases.
Okay.
So routing is the one which it's more, I'll probably say, related to web form and our distribution systems at the back end.
Okay.
So we have SAP, warehouse management systems. That's where we have brought in RE more as a front end, completely, which is actually like a RE web form. Mm-hmm. Whereas Salesforce, we are focusing more on embedded application.
Okay.
Same thing we are going to do, for example, with SAP. SAP is a very powerful example of embedded. Worksheets. We found worksheets to be a great example. Is that, for example, a planner is, or any person who's doing any function, even during the financial close process, you are inside and doing all that process in a worksheet, but you want to trigger the bot to take a given action. So now what happens? A minion comes in action. A minion goes, does that action, brings that back. So you are not actually changing the user experience. The user experience stays, but you're automating the process.
Yeah, so we have a use case that we are working on now with RE POC. So we are trying to embed that RE into our Salesforce to get some data and make the bot to return back, like minions to return back some data back, right? But we are trying to embed, so I will talk to you.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Love to discuss. Yes.
How do you document and organize your minions or your microbots, and how do you ensure the team's leveraging those?
Libraries. So essentially, minions, when we call them, they are essentially microbots. So we are building a structure around it, mainly around automation libraries, where we say that, okay, listen, these are the piece of code. And it's exactly, if you think about it, it's just like an API architecture. So you define your minion based on the function they perform. For example, we have a minion which will do a financial posting. It's a minion. A minion which logs on into SAP. A minion which will transfer data, let's say, from a legacy systems to Salesforce. So you try to create it almost mimic like an API architecture. So we have a word for it. We call it RP as a service. It can be, right? So we don't need to build those constraints around it, that a service can be an API, a service can be RPA. Why not? Right? As long as you set your expectation right, like our expectation is near real-time experience. Sometimes it may not be real-time.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the service architecture of bot deployment? I think it was in one of your slides.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah.
do you want to?
Please. No, go ahead.
Also, the question is about the service architecture, the design framework of deployment.
So, and that is one area. I'll not say we have perfected it yet. This is something which we are working on. Our thought process, and that is one of the journey we are really taking this year and next year, is to parameterize and make our RPA so that it can take a parameter just like a service, then it can run as a service, complete it, and complete the loop and give the results back to the application which is calling it. Still work in progress. We are still working on it. I'll probably say we have got some success. So Automation Anywhere has been a great partner in that. And our core focus is that how do you bring that whole concept of RPA service at the fore? And one of the biggest applications, especially which is, we call it near real time, is your consumers, call centers, for example, contact centers. So when your consumers are calling, they're not going to wait. So not everything can be solved by an enterprise service. So that's what we are trying to do, is to bring in RPA and maybe also set some expectation. Let's say you might call us and you say that, listen, I want to cancel my order. So we may not have a enterprise service to cancel an order. So we use RPA to cancel the order or to change the order. And then we say, we'll give you feedback, not maybe immediately, but maybe by a text or by an email or by some other channel, where consumers are not going to wait. So as long as you can set your expectation, you can actually utilize RPA as a service in a big way. We have been able to take the action, so that part is working very well. Getting the feedback loop is what we are working on.
Are these all attended bots or unattended bots?
I'll probably say both. It depends on the kind of architecture you're implementing. Call center, you can use attended bot. For example, in your agent desktop, you can build an attended bot which can be triggered and can get the results. Self-service of a consumer may not be an attended bot. So it will basically trigger a service which kicks off a bot in the control room to do an action and then maybe send a response to a consumer, maybe by email or maybe by text or something of that sort. So both are possible. Keep your architecture flexible. That's the key. So what's next for us? People side, we really want to double down on the role-based automation. We feel very strongly about it that role-based automations, building it for a given role is a key. And actually, it gives us more scale once you implement those style of automations. Again, collaborate and win. These communities are great. So working along with other members of our community, and I think co-developing solutions will be important. Working with Automation Anywhere for sure, but the co-development piece of it and really focusing hard that, okay, what are the key areas which are a challenge for multiple customers? And then pool the resources together to develop something smarter. Again, industry solutions is another key thing which we are focusing on. Talent Development Federation. One thing we have seen, we are doing citizen development, but we use the word controlled. Controlled is very important for us. We don't intend to make automation at a desktop level so that any users can go and start automating on their own. I think for us, it is maybe maturity. We are worried about the security risks involved with that. So we use the word controlled citizen development. Another thing is that we want to enable teams, not individuals. So for example, we have a team of Japan we stood up from subject matter experts, and we call them automation champions. So we identify a few people who are interested and they really want to develop it. We equip them, enable them, and then form a team around them. So our focus is not on individuals and more on teams. That's how maybe that's a style of federation we are adopting. Everybody might have a different way of doing it, right? Any questions on the people side of it? This is very important, actually. Yes, please.
What is your roadmap to the RPA Champion program?
Great question. We are working along with Automation Anywhere. So they have a 30, 60, 90-day plan. So we have been working along with them. I must say that among the other solution providers, I've seen Automation Anywhere providing great thought leadership. They're already thinking about these things that they're important, right? So.
And don't forget about our new Pathfinder program.
Processes. This is another key focus area, is that process engineering. And how does your COE collaborates with your business teams and process engineering teams? Because when we said earlier, automation by design, your automation by design cannot happen if you are working in a silo. It can only happen if you collaborate with process engineering teams. They need to tell you that, listen, these are the key focus areas, these are the OKRs, these are the KPIs we are focusing hard on. And then you start collaborating with them to build those automations together. We spoke quite a bit on the consumer and employee-centric processes. We said role-based automations, how the user experiences are very important. So we'll continue working on that. Process mining is another thing we are looking closely at. I should actually use the word both process discovery and mining. They're different, but we feel both are important. So we'll definitely focus quite a bit on that. And metrics. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. It's very simple. So our focus is on metrics. We are trying to measure our bot performance, measure also and link it with our KPIs, if possible. Sometimes it's a direct relationship, but sometimes it is not. So we have to find ways to give a more realistic metric to our business stakeholders, also our leadership, so they can clearly see that what it is doing, and we also know where do we need to improve. So definitely one of the key focus areas for us. Technology side, cognitive automation will become important, essentially with human decision making. I think we have got maturity on action-based automation. So that is already there. Cognitive is a key piece that when you're, for example, you're building those forecasting models, you're building those planning models. How do you enable a decision making of a human and help them out so that the automation can actually do a lot of lifting from analysis perspective and present the data so our business stakeholders can take better decisions. So that's what we call cognition, right? RPA service, we discuss a lot on that. So yes, that is a core focus area for us. And the ask for our team is to have 500 to 1,000 services available using RPA. If we get that, we are there. So it's not easy to do, but the intention is that every action, once you start thinking on those lines, that every action of a process can be a service for you, then it is possible. You can do it. Yes, please.
How are you planning to socialize these RPA services that you plan to build, like across all your line of business units?
That's a very, very good question. So socialization, there are two aspects of it. One is technology socialization. So our technology stakeholders, think about solution architects, our architecture review boards, even from, I'll probably say, information security, is to build some socialization with them that this is another way of developing a service. Even integrations team, we had some good discussions with them also. We said, okay, APIs are great, but can you give me an API tomorrow? Answer is no. So what do I do? Sorry? Educating them. Or maybe also sometimes it's a buy. So we say that, okay, listen, we are going to use RP as a service till an enterprise service can be developed. And once it is developed, Automation Anywhere has a great platform to even absorb that. So it works well. Other aspect is more on the business stakeholder engagement. For them, I think they are more interested in what actions you are taking to make it possible and is it feasible or not. As long as that is communicated, I think it works out. Technology partners, socialization is more important. Embedded automation, we gave some example of that. RE is one of them. Whatever we are doing within Salesforce or even with the Microsoft platform is another one. Innovation labs, we are going to focus on that. Another thing we learned is that the solution architecture is not only within the automation COE, is to spread the wings, talk more broadly to other application teams, talk to other solution architects, talk within the industry, and build those innovation labs where you can develop automation along with the application team itself. First of all, you will get less resistance, their collaboration will be better. Once you involve them, they'll collaborate much better with you. So these are the common themes, and I'm pretty sure that we have a lot to learn. We are still learning on this journey. But we wanted to share what we have seen so far, and get feedback from all of you. Yes, please.
Question that comes from one of your first slides. One of your first slides showed that you did 20 bots or 20 processes in your first year. How did you accomplish that and then grow even another 80 by the next year? Because you said 20 to 100, or I guess it was 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, 2 to 4 years. It took us roughly 2 years.
How are you doing 20 automations a year?
Yeah, it was, even we didn't expect it. So our initial goals were to maybe do around 5 automations, not more than that. And we ended up doing 20 because we saw a lot of excitement within our business doing it. One thing which really helped us is our C-level executives. They are our steering committee. Our CDIO, our CFO, head of supply chain, head of HR, they form our steering committee. So a lot of times they encourage and they help develop us on the automation journeys. So they spread the message out. We got good traction from them, from our business partners. And I'll probably also go to say that our COE, especially on the business side of the fence, the program management is very helpful and very mature. So if you have a great partnership with your business, especially your program office and technology, it can happen. Frankly, we were surprised. So the total RPA team, we have, at present, we have 13 roles within the United States, and we have a team offshore, around 20 resources offshore.
And you have the citizen bot developer part of it, or is it?
We are getting into it. I'll probably say, I'll say federation more than citizen development. But one thing which we are doing is, and that's a future roadmap, is that we are standing up a dedicated squad which will not produce bots. Their only function will be to stand up federations. No target to develop any bot, only enable, that's it. Yes, please.
What was the size of that group 5 years ago?
Sorry?
What was the size of that group 5 years ago?
When we started, we were total 3 resources. I was one of the first ones. So, yeah, we started very small as a team, and all this is possible because we have a fantastic team. So, can't say enough about them. Like a lot of smart people, much more smarter than I am. So
So you built it from scratch?
Yes, we did.
In the space of 5 years?
Yeah, I'll probably say 4 years. 4 years, yes.
And it was driven by C-level?
Yes, it was. It was. We kind of did a study in 2018. We were coming out of a major transformation implementing systems like SAP and our ERP systems. So we revamped it. But one of the things we found is that even though we have revamped all our backend systems, but our processes are still not automated. So that was one of the key findings in 2018 when we did, which kind of got us started on an automation journey.
That also echoed the Gartner's research findings that a lot of the digital transformation success, the biggest, what to say, either impediment or the success factor is executive leadership buy-in.
Very true, very true. If they are behind you and they encourage and sponsor the program, it becomes successful.
In regards to cognitive automation, do you have any bots that actually do forecasting and then action on it? Without any
We are, yes, please. Yeah.
So the question is asking about whether there is any automation of bots conducting the forecasting analysis.
Yes. So we have started doing that mainly in our tooling capacity. So a lot of our capacity planning actually happens in different regions. For example, it happens in Asia, where a lot of our factories are, right? So it becomes very important for us to match our production plans with the tooling we have in the factories. So we have now put in automation. It's not only automation anywhere, we are using other systems as well. Open-ended systems, we have utilized Pega as well to do that. But our intention is very clear, is that the automations will actually do those capacity planning models, but they work along with the human still. For example, they'll run certain heuristics on that modeling and then get back to the planner and say that, okay, listen, this is what we've done. Does it make sense? Do you want to proceed with the next event? What it allows us to do is that it allows us to basically plan that or do that planning runs 24/7. Earlier, we were limited by the capacity of that human person doing it. So we'll get lucky if you get maybe 30, 40, 50% planning done in a given amount of time, but not anymore. You can actually do the planning runs more frequently to get better results. So those are the kind of actions we are taking. Same thing, we are having discussions now with our supply planning team and the forecasting teams to build more automations for them. So definitely a key area for us.
So we've got about 30 seconds left for the session. Any last minute questions?
Oh, we love to fail.
Lessons learned.
We love to fail. Like, we have failed so many times. We have failed to deliver RP as a service. We're still failing. It's not that we are successful.
Give us some advice on what not to do.
What not to do?
Advice on what not to do.
Don't work in silos. We learned that very early, and we failed there also. It's not that we were successful. Is that we were thinking, at the start of it, we were thinking that, okay, listen, we got that figured out. We developed the automation. But then the application teams came in and said, okay, so you have not discussed with us, and what are you trying to do? Why it is happening? Socializing, involving them, making them part of the journey is very important. They feel that they're part of it, right? Mm-hmm. So that makes a huge difference. We failed and learned, and then we are up and running again. Another area, change management. Change management, we stumbled quite a bit on that whole piece of it, that we were not very successful initially in adaptation and change management. So we pivoted. We got a OCM, Organization Change Management lead. She's part of the team. She actually guides the whole program now from change management. Such a huge lift. Definitely recommend change management. Always, adaptation is the key. More important than development, I'll probably say.
Well, Dev, I have to say that you're truly living up to Columbia's founder's principle. You're already great, but now you continue working on being perfect. Absolutely. The next level of perfection, that's what we're all striving for. So thank you so much for your presentation and insights and wisdom, and thank you for your partnership. And Thank you all.
Thank you so much.